Hey guys, this is Taeyeon here, and today we're going to be talking about how to properly main a hero. A main is simply defined by a hero that is played whenever reasonably possible by the user. This is not the same as what we call a one-trick pony, which is someone who will never swap and only plays one hero a majority of the time. Maining a hero is absolutely 100% okay and is not a bad thing in any way, shape, or form if, and only if, your only goal is to be what we like to call casually competitive. Let me distinguish the difference between fully competitive and casually competitive. Fully competitive is when your only goal is to improve and get better no matter what the cost, and 100% of your actions are meant to get better at the game. Casually competitive puts fun as a priority and competitiveness directly after. So the reason why I said maining a hero is only good for casually competitive is because of the next point I'm trying to make, and that is, by maining a hero, you will be picking them in times that are not optimal, but are still viable. Fully competitive would only pick heroes that are optimal at the time. People in competitive will complain a lot about hero picks that aren't in the meta, and all that means is that they're not optimal at the time. Optimal picks do not mean anything in ranks below Master or maybe even as high as GM. The reason for this is that there are just way too many mistakes made by players, even of high skill levels, that makes their picks not as important as their mechanics and decision making. If your mechanics and your decision making were impeccable, you could play any hero you wanted to a top 100 or better rating. So when you main a hero, swapping is almost never truly necessary, but it is a sign of good manners for your team. This is not me condoning you just going into comp and never swapping because you want to get better. Show respect for your team and swap if you're not doing well. Yes, your team made tons of mistakes that game that would make it a loss, but by you swapping to a meta pick when you're not performing well enough, it shows them that you don't want to ruin their experiences just because you're trying to get better, and that you want to be a team player too. The hardest part of this mindset is realizing when you're not pulling your own weight. There are times when you're doing fine, if not great, but your team is getting rolled. Being rolled is not always a sign that it is your fault, but when you are getting rolled, you should take it as a warning sign to look at your own gameplay, just in case it is your fault. Like I said, it doesn't have to be, but look and see if it is. Be objective and be fair. If you feel you're not applying pressure where you should be willing to swap. This allows you to get your practice in and still helps the team. For an example, I made Widowmaker for Season 1. I had 97 games played on her with a 60% win rate. I wasn't a high rank, and I wasn't some kind of monster Widow player either. I just knew when to play her and when not to. I would only play her on payload and capture point maps, not control point maps. On control point maps, it's too easy to get dove and not apply pressure on any of the points. So I not only spare my team from dealing with it, but I saved myself from putting myself into a shitty situation before the game even starts. I would also swap if I went 2 lives without getting any kills, or just not getting any priority targets. However, there were also times where I would be doing great, maybe even getting 4 or more kills per life, and we would still get rolled. During these games, it was apparent that the team was not willing to work together. Even if I were to swap to a meta pick, they did not have the communication or the teamwork to be able to pull through. So I stayed Widow, I applied the pressure I could, and I focused on my mistakes so that I could improve in further situations similar to this. Let me emphasize this one more time. I am not and will not ever condone playing a hero and never swapping only because you want to get better at them, at least in comp. In quick play, it is perfectly okay. Again, what I'm saying is that you need to develop a proper objective mindset and be able to analyze your own gameplay to decide whether you need to swap or not. Are you putting down enough pressure? Are you killing priority targets? Don't get caught up in your ego and blame your team for not working together. The pressure you apply to the enemy is largely dependent on you and you alone, based off of your decisions and your mechanics. So if you want to main a hero, don't worry about admitting you're performing terribly, and do make that swap. Don't listen to flamers who will flame you for either your pick or the fact that you're losing. If it is your fault, you can spot it for yourself and make the appropriate swap. If he's just mad and wants to blame you for no reason, just ignore him. Also, side note, if you're getting gold medals, that doesn't always mean you're doing the right thing. That doesn't always mean you're applying the right amount of pressure. You need to be able to look at the game objectively, like I said. By looking at it subjectively, by looking at your medals or your stats, you're not doing your team justice, and you're possibly holding them behind many of the games that you're actually not performing, but you think you are because, oh, I'm Junkrat and I have gold damage and elims. Just please don't be the jerk who ruins games for everyone by not swapping regardless of your performance. Use your brain. And with that, I'll end it on that note. Best of luck to you all out there who are either maining a hero or are dealing with people maining a hero. Hopefully you can talk some sense into those who don't behave like sensible people. This is Taeyeon, and I will catch you all in the next video.